Manual redirected walking versus Slidemill/Treadmill. Bias. I've never used a VR Slidemill or Treadmill before. I recommend you watch these videos to get an understanding of treadmills first, as well as my breakdown on how to manual redirected walk. Walking concept. Redirected walking uses your existing play space for locomotion. By really walking across your play space, you can move in both VR and in real life. But in order to move again, we must rotate our virtual environment with the joystick. This pivots our view along our play space, allowing us to walk again. You can do this continuously or in segments of lines like in my video here. This allows nearly one-to-one movement, and is fairly natural to do. Redirected walking does take more training than one might think. There's a lot to overcome when redirecting, like predicting where you need to go, in what direction, as well as getting comfortable of walking inside of VR. There's a significant risk of dizziness and motion sickness as you turn a lot when redirecting. This can be overcome with training as well. It does require at least some amount of play space to work. This means people with very small play spaces won't be able to do this at all. The concept behind treadmills are simple. You're bound at the waist and simply slide your feet across a low friction surface that's usually curved or angled. This makes it easy to learn, but at the cost of movement being unnatural. Movements. There's a lot of freedom of movement in redirected walking. It allows the user to do almost anything you can do in your room or play space. Crouching, jumping, strafing, proning are all just as you would do in real life. Running is possible, but requires more training and confidence to attempt. As well as the faster you go, the more turning you will need to do, which can lead to dizziness and motion sickness. A treadmill can do one thing very well. It can allow the user to run as fast as they like. Even if the movement is not as natural as real running, it is close enough to do so on these devices. Depending on your model, treadmills lack the ability to do much outside of running and walking. On newer models though, you can sit and swim. Although, we'll see how many people actually do that. Setup. For redirected walking, you already have a VR headset and some sort of play space, small or large. This is often already done when you choose an area to set up VR. The software is optional depending on the game. With any game that allows some turning with a joystick or other methods, redirected walking is possible. This assumes that the developer has implemented turning correctly. The only downside is that you have to make sure your play space is clear from any hazards. Pets are also in danger of getting hurt when you're redirected walking. Treadmills, you need to build up the device, which wouldn't be too hard for the average VR user considering the challenges of getting VR running in the first place. Entering the treadmill also takes some time, as you need to put on the shoes, unbuckle any straps, step in, and strap yourself in. The last hurdle is software, which you need to configure for each game as well as calibrate the sensors that detect running and walking. Safety, noise, and style. Redirected walking is only as loud as normal walking, which might depend on what you're walking on and what shoes you're wearing, if any at all. You might want to be careful if you live above someone too. Since redirected walking uses a full play space and the fact you're not strapped into anything, this allows the user to fully express themselves, as well as looking like you're actually walking. When turning, it can look funny, but this can be hidden with extra training. Moving through your play space comes with the risk of hurting yourself, someone else, or something expensive. Remember that when putting on a headset, it effectively does the same thing as a blindfold. Treadmills are relatively safe to use. The strap will catch you if you fall, and it's designed in such a way to not interfere with your limbs as you move. I would say you wouldn't be catching anyone dancing in a VR treadmill anytime soon, as well as it making it look like you need to use the bathroom. Lastly, treadmills are often pretty loud. You would need to consider where and when to use it. Cost and hardware. There are no devices and no cost with redirected walking. But this doesn't include finding a play space, which is often the most expensive part of VR. The smaller the room, the more time it will take you to overcome any dizziness and motion sickness as well. The space that you have for a play space can be used for other activities besides VR when not in use. Wireless headsets are extremely recommended when redirected walking. The cable and play space issue are what I think restricts the most users from ever attempting redirected walking. But some are able to overcome these problems with a lot of practice. A treadmill can fit within smaller play spaces. Many more users are able to use a treadmill in this way. At over $1,000 for the cheapest treadmill, the Catwalk C2, it makes it one of the most expensive single pieces of VR equipment you can get. Even at their small size, they do still take up a bit of space that could be play space for other things. Conclusion. Comparing the concept of redirected walking versus treadmill, you can see that redirected walking is one-to-one movement and fairly natural to do, with both concepts having at least some discomfort. Redirected walking makes you turn a lot, while treadmill makes you push your waist up against a stop and slide your feet instead of walk. The advantage of the treadmill is that you can run as fast as you like, but with a lot of games, the speed will be capped. No matter how fast you run, you'll never outrun someone using a joystick. Movement is so much better for redirected walking. For anything you might want to set up for like a jump or dance, there are points where you don't need to turn or redirect at all, just like using room scale locomotion. This makes any movement or stunt that is possible in the play space doable. But as you run, you quickly find out that turning a lot makes you sick pretty fast. This also slows your maximum speed. Running in a treadmill is faster, but you lose out on just about everything you can do with redirected walking. Setup is almost non-existent for redirected walking when you look at how much you need to do for a treadmill. You already have a play space, you just need to make sure it's clear. Noise is also better with redirected walking, as sliding on the treadmill creates a lot of noise. Safety is better on a treadmill because of the design and how you're strapped in. The style is better with redirected walking. It can look goofy at times if it's done too fast or is forced, but it can be hidden, unlike treadmills. Also, redirected walking can be incorporated into dancing, plays, role-playing, and anything else where it needs to look good. Redirected walking is as free as you can get. It's just a walking concept with no hardware. It is better with wireless and more play space, but those are things that people in VR are already looking for. Treadmills, especially these early ones, are going to be outdated at some point. Someone will stop updating them, or they will break. They work in smaller rooms, but that takes up a much larger portion of their space, where something else could have been there. Throughout getting info for this video, I've realized that redirected walking and treadmills fill a different role when tackling the locomotion problem. Redirected walking puts the real walking first and contains it, while treadmills put containment first, and whatever follows is considered walking. I don't think that these techniques are exclusive to each other. Almost anyone can pick up redirected walking today and start learning with a big or small play space. In fact, I consider it an essential tool for VR. The benefit is that you can upgrade your play space for other activities too, while a treadmill can only work as a treadmill and take up the space of one too. That being said, treadmills can work in small play spaces, providing some form of walking. I believe that if you have the ability to redirected walk, a treadmill is not something that is on your wish list.